Welcome back, everybody. Now we're going to make a dashboard for stock prices using Streamlit and Plotly. If you haven't already done so, you should go ahead and install Plotly and Streamlit. So if you're using PyCharm like me, you can go ahead and install Plotly using the Preferences tab. For me, I'm using this version of Plotly 4.10.0 and of course Streamlit. Okay, looks like spelling is not my friend today. I'm using 0.66.0. Yeah, and all this will be updated in the requirements.txt file. So these are the libraries you want to install for sure. First thing we want to do, we want to import Streamlit as st, import pandas as pd, import plotly.express as px, and those should do for now. Now let's write a function. Okay, so this is going to load the data because the data is a CSV file. We want it to be a data frame. So we can call it load data. So let's call it a data frame equals to pd dot. We're using the read CSV function in pandas. Next, we supply the directory of the data. We want the index column to be date. I believe it's a capital. Maybe I can check real quick. No, okay, small letter. Okay, cool. So we want that to be the index column. Next, let's get the numeric data sets. So it's going to be data frame dot select data types. We want to select the float and int. We want the numeric calls. Using the columns attribute in pandas. We also want the text data frame. So we are pretty much splitting the data frame into two. I want object. Text calls wants to be text dot columns. Next, we want this function to return everything. Return the data frame, return the numeric calls, return the text calls, and that's our function. We're going to put the Streamlit decorator here, the caching function, so that Streamlit knows not to always rerun this function except there's a change in it. So that's going to be st dot That's what we're going to use. It helps with performance. Now let's call this function. Going to be equals to load data. So let's give our dashboard a title. So that's going to be, we use the title function. We give it a string. Oh, my bad. At this point, we can run using the Streamlit run command, and it looks good. So let me just close this, open it here. Show the data set on the dashboard. With that, we use the write function, and we're going to write data frame. So if we rerun this, we should see the data frame there. So there you have it. This is the data frame. You can expand it, see, minimize it. Let's write a simple script that we can, let's add a checkbox that can allow us show the data set or not show the data set. I want that to be in the sidebar. Add checkbox to sidebar. For that, we're going to use this function. The label, let's see, display dataset. Let's give it a variable name of check underscore box. You can call it anything. So if we rerun this, we can see the checkbox over there. We're going to write a small control flow statement. So if checkbox, if it's ticked as true, then we want to write the data frame. So we're just going to cut this, put it here. If it isn't, it shouldn't show. So we can rerun. Let's give the sidebar a title. st.sidebar dot. Okay, let's see this now. Let's just call it settings. Now you can see that the data isn't displayed, but of course if we click on display dataset, it's going to display it. We want to have a way by which users can select multiple columns at the same time. So let's do that. Let's call a variable feature selection. We're going to use a sidebar and the multi-select widget. The label is going to be features to plot, and want the options to be the numeric columns. Let's put this on another line. It's easy to see. We also want to select, put another, this time a drop down. We want it to be equals to, we want it to be in the sidebar, so we're going to use a sidebar function, and we're going to use the select widget, select box widget. We have to provide a label. The label is going to be stock ticker. The options for these, we want only the stock tickers to be shown. So let's look at the data set. Let me comment this out first so we don't get an error. If we go to the data set, let's say we display data set. Let's close this. Just wait for it. So what we want for this name column, if you look at this column, it shows all the stock tickers that we have in the data set. You can see it changes as we go down. We want the unique values there. In order for us to do that, we're going to have to index that column and get the unique values. And we'll say stock column is going to be equals to data frame. We know it's called, the column is called name. We want all the unique values. So let's say unique stocks. We want that to be equal to stock column, and we use the unique function. Let's not forget to return that. Unique stocks, and let's update this as well. Unique. So now we can use this as our options. Let me uncomment this. At this point, let's rerun the dashboard and see what it looks like. So you notice because I made changes to that function, even though the function was cached, because I made changes, it now has to rerun those functions. Let's just give it some time. It's a large data set. Okay, at this point, this is what we see. Let's add a subheader that shows time series settings so that we can distinguish that. We want the subheader, of course, to be in the sidebar. Time series settings. At this point, we can choose to not display the data sets. It's fine. Now that we have everything we want, let's add our Plotly function. We're going to call the Plotly figure. Let's call it Plotly figure. It's going to be equals to, we're going to use the express module, Plotly express, and we want a line chart. So if you look at the docstring, it's specify the X, specify the Y, and things like that. So let's do something very basic. But before then, let me show you how the multi-select works. So for multi-select, I can select open, high, low. So I can select as many features as I want, while for the normal select box, you just have to select just, let's say, one thing. So let's say we want the ticker to be Apple. You can select that. So for the plot, we want it, whenever we select multiple things, it should go in here and show us the data frame that index the data frame with only these values. Let me show you what the multi-select option looks like. We can try to print it out. Let's say print, so we can understand what data we are dealing with. And we call it feature selection. Let's save. If I make this rerun, just pick something else. You can see that it comes out what we selected in the dashboard, open, high, low, comes out as a list of open, high, low. And that's what we need. We're going to go ahead and index the data frame based on the list. So we can say data frame features is going to be data frame indexed by the feature selection. So we are just telling the data frame, show me the data frame with only these columns. That's it. Another thing we want is we want this data frame to only be indexed when the name value is equals to what we select over here. So matter of fact, we can even do that first. So let's do that first. Data frame is going to be equals to data frame where the name equals to, what I'm doing here is I'm using the pandas indexing function. I want it to be equals to the stock drop down. So whatever we get from the stock drop down is what the data frame is going to be. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to just index only that data frame, and then we get our features over here. Next, we can go back to the express function. So specify our x is going to be the index of df features dot index, the feature selection list, and want our data frame to be df features. Let's just put this here so it's easier to follow. Don't forget to specify title, string representation of the stock drop down, you can just do this. Just say add another string to it. So what we're trying to do here is we're just trying to give it a name that makes sense. And that should work. If it doesn't, we can fix it. Now for us to display this Plotly chart, we need to call the Plotly chart function in Streamlit and pass the Plotly figure, and we should be good to go. So let me rerun. Fingers crossed. And there you have it. There you have it. So this is ADM timeline. So that was the title. And if we change this, let's say we change it to Apple AAPL timeline, you have the open eye low. We can also include the close. And that's it. We have our dashboard. So you can do the usual things with Plotly. Like you can zoom in. See, if you go over there, you can see the prices. Yeah, you can see the different things. It's really cool. It's really cool. Yeah, we can just zoom back out. If you want to display the data sets, we can do that as well. And there you have it. A very basic dashboard for plots using Streamlit and Plotly. I'll see you in other videos in this playlist where I investigate Streamlit some more and I post different tutorials on Streamlit. So thank you very much. See you in the next video and have a good day.